In an earlier post, I explained how spiritual teachings that you were exposed to before your spiritual awakening can still act as a hindrance if you're still using these as a yardstick to measure your spiritual awakening against. Your spiritual awakening is what it is. It is an awakening. It is not a place where you are going to be picking flowers and putting them in your vase every day. It's not somewhere that you're going to be happy all of the time, or you're going to be full of joy, or that you reach a high vibration and that means that you can't drop to a moment of weakness. Rubbish, guys. All of that is absolute rubbish. You cannot experience these transcendental states by bypassing aspects of you. You're going to have to go through this. And if you think that spirituality or spiritual awakening is just joy, I'm at such a high vibe that I have to be nice all the time, then you're barking up the wrong tree. Because spiritual awakening is about you walking into your authenticity. It's about you owning yourself. It's not about you reaching some kind of zenith. It's not about you reaching some kind of ultimate state of never feeling a moment of pain, never feeling a moment of suffering, never feeling. You see, we have all been exposed to an idealized awakened state or an idealized spirituality. But if you read about the stories, if you read about legends, for example, let's talk about what I am aware of and what I grew up learning, is that almost every guru had to fight the Sikh gurus, the 10 gurus, because I was brought up as a Sikh. Now, there was always some sort of fight. It's a very practical religion in the sense that there are fights, there is drama, and there is that you're a householder, but you're also a spiritual warrior. You fight for what you believe in. So it's not a case of, okay, let's all go and sit in the Himalayas somewhere. You will, yes, by all means, if that's the path that you have chosen. But the idea that you have to be of a certain vibration, and you end up in this rabbit hole of judgment, guilt, shame. Every time you lose your cool, every time you drop from this pedestal that you have put yourself on, or you're awakening and you think that, this is the way it has got to be. This is why. This is exactly the reason why. When you're on an awakening, one of the things that you do is you start your unlearning. You start getting rid of these beliefs that you've been holding on to, even the belief of what's right conduct, even the belief of what's good, what's bad, all of those labels, just get rid of them. And the belief, what spirituality is, get rid of it. Absolutely, get rid of it, right? This is where, when you are on that awakening path, by default, when you enter into that dark night of the soul, which is a place of limbo, which is a place of basically, this is what I was, I now don't know where I am, and the new persona hasn't really developed yet, so you're sort of in no one's land, right? Nobody talks about that. And when I'm talking about nobody talks about that, very rarely will you actually find great spiritual leaders or, scriptures talking about the hell of a spiritual awakening, right? the disorientation that brings. I mean, all of this energy and all of this sensitivity that comes with it. Yeah, okay, great. Now you can feel. I mean, before you kind of felt the suffering and you really felt it. But now suddenly, whoa, you start to live pretty intensely. But with that intensity, naturally, your stress response is going to be at an all-time high. You are in this body, so you are going to be feeling attacked a lot of the time. And this is where, yes, okay, your awareness will come in, and yes, we've got so many different tools that we can use, and yes, we meditate, yes, we get into this state so that we can then lengthen the gap and try to relax our system as much as possible so that we can handle living with such intensity. But before we can get to that stage, or even that stage, for now, let's pretend it doesn't even exist. Let's pretend there's no such ultimate joy, right? Because just think about it. If the point of all of this was that we come here, we experience spiritual awakening, and then we get enlightened, we get self-realized and everything, and then we live in this ultimate sort of joy. What is joy without a contrast? We won't know that we are in a state of joy if we don't know the other state. So we are in this duality, we are in these states which we're going to move through and move in and out of almost all of the time, because it is the experience of it that we are here. This is what we are doing, right? And what your spiritual awakening ultimately is all about is alchemizing pain into power, alchemizing all of that which you are going through, the darkness, into light. No, not into light, into the midpoint, into a point where it's not light, it's not dark, without duality. But forget about all these ideals, forget about any form of spiritual teaching, anything that's sort of giving you this place that we must get to, which is like up there. And so that when we're going through the nuances of a spiritual awakening, going through the whole process, rather than you actually just going through it, you might find yourself questioning the veracity of your spiritual awakening, because you'll think, well, hang on a second, how can I even be spiritually awake? Because my moods are yo-yoing from point A to B to Z every other day. Forget even every day. In a day, you might be going through 24 mood swings in less than 24 hours. Right? That's what a spiritual awakening does. I mean, it's absolutely disorientating. So if you're somebody who is holding on to some kind of idealized view of what a spiritual awakening is, then you're going to find it really, really tough to go through one. So while we're at it, we might as well allow, accept, and get through your spiritual awakening by being kind to yourself, being gentle, and remembering that this is what it is. It's all about the journey there. It's not about the point that we're getting to. It's the alchemy. It's the process. Lots of love. Take care.